Oh, it's good. It's good. It seems to get shorter and shorter every year, though. So I think we started at six weeks when I was a young guy, and now it's 4. But that was good. It was definitely some good times to have the family recharge and get ready for what we got going on.
How are your shoulders now?
Good. Feel good. Strong, healthy. Kind of hit my benchmark for what I wanted to do for upper body strength. Feel ready to go play football. I've never been the world's biggest bencher anyway, so we'll save that for the other guys and just kind of go and play football. So, but feel pretty good.
Starting tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here and ready to play some football.
What's
Have you been following the stuff with the NFLPA players union people over there right now? Have you been following it, and kind of what's your reaction on it?
I've been kind of keeping some tabs. Obviously, you get the text messages and whatnot. Obviously being in the union and been following. I haven't really talked to most of the guys or anyone kind of higher up in the union or anything like that. So I'm sure that'll be a point of conversation here during lunch at some point. But I've been following. Honestly, I don't know enough to form an educated opinion right now. So we'll kind of get the gist of what's going on. I'm sure we'll have some conversations when the union comes around camp and everything like that. We'll probably address something. So we'll see what's going on.
Have you had an opportunity to talk with DJ Humphries and kind of get to know him, how he might fit in?
Not personally, no. I know it kind of happened right after right before we broke for summer break and everything. So, I'm pretty, as you get older and the kids get older, it's summer breaks pretty well scheduled out. So it's been pretty busy going back and forth and kind of, doing everything with the family that, we wanted to get in with those 4 weeks. But, I haven't talked to him personally. Obviously, we're the same draft class, so, I've seen his work from afar. He's a great player. Excited to have him on and, get to know him in the coming weeks. Yeah, I think that just shows the absolute professionalism of a Kyron Williams. There's one thing about Kyron, he loves playing ball. And I think the way, the fiery nature you see, the enthusiasm that you see from Kyron, that's just who he is as a person, and there's no faking that. That's what you love about Kyron. And honestly, the way he goes about his business, it's, you kind of forget that there's even contract negotiations just because he's been the same guy from day one since he walked in. But, for him to, be here reported, ready to go, which I'm sure he is. You've been seeing his videos online. He's got a new haircut. He looks good, excited to see him.
What's it like having Coleman Shelton?
Oh, it's great. I love Coleman Shelton. He's he's played a lot of years, and he's been a couple different positions, and obviously been a couple different teams. And I think just the experience that he brings, and just the leadership and the calmness, and the way he goes about his work. He's really intentional about what he does, and so it's obviously great to have him in the building. And personally, he's one of my good friends, so it's obviously great to have him back.
Rob, what was some of the benchmarks you wanted to reach off-season in regards to your training?
Just some numbers on weightlifting. I don't need to get specific because, like I said, I'm not the biggest bencher, so it's not going to wow anyone anyway. So, but things have been feeling pretty good. There's going to be some, soreness here and there, but that's just football, and after playing it for, a decade in the NFL, it's just going to kind of is what it is type thing. But, like I said, I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm in a good place, rehab and lifting and everything like that. So we're ready to get after it and put some cleats on the grass.
How's your approach to training camp changed as you progress in your career?
Mentally, you try not to let it change too much. You're still taking all the notes you can. But obviously on the physical side of things, it's taking account of the body of work that I already have in. Trying to stay as fresh for as long as possible, but still continuing to grow and make sure I get all the work I need to make sure I feel good about playing ball.
Rob, this team ended on such a high note last year. How do you sort of keep that going?
That's a tough question because it's hard to keep momentum going from team to team. Players change, coaches change. It's just the time away. It's not like you can pick up right where you left off. As much as some people say that, I personally don't believe it. But I think it's kind of understanding the feeling of what that was, about how we finished the season, and how we worked at the end of that season, why we got to where we got, and obviously we wanted to go further than what we did. So, you know, definitely keeping a little bit of that hunger, you know, kind of in people's hearts, and that's something that I can definitely feel around guys, and I'm sure will show in the next coming weeks. But you know, it is a different team, so it's obviously not back to, you know, square one or anything like that. But it's still, how does this team work? How does this team go about their business? And we're kind of shaping more of the foundations than what we did in the spring.
The last couple more. It was such a recurring theme about the youth in this locker room. Now those 2 draft classes are like, does this still feel like a youth team to you?
I mean, I'm 33, so yes. Yes, it does, but that's, you know, that's a good thing, because I think even with the youth that we have, like, it's a very mature group. You know, like you said, you know, guys have played a lot of football. They have a lot of game experience. Some guys have, you know, playoff experience, and all that, you know, just helps you become a better player, to fit into hopefully a better team and everything like that. But you know, they're still young. We are still young. They're, you know, flying around with a lot of energy that maybe, you know, some of the older guys kind of can't put forth out on the field. But you know, it's definitely great to be around, because it kind of uplifts you and you know, kind of gets your juice back up, because you know, this is a fun game to play.
Continuity seemed to be really
Last one.
important to this line last year, although it is a new season. How do you kind of try to recapture some of that during camp to make sure that you guys are all on the same page to start the season?
Yeah, it's just, you know, when we hit the ground running, it's kind of just that, you know, you know, I've obviously played next to K-Dot for a lot of years. I have a lot of experience next to Coleman, whether he's at guard or center. Steve's been playing a lot of ball for us, and just kind of knowing how those guys think and react to certain situations, just knows that we can kind of clean things up in the meeting room a little faster. We don't have to learn how each other speak and how each other kind of think about football, think about offensive line play, think about different blocks, different schemes. You know, all that's kind of experience. We know what we're doing, so it's you know, we can kind of all talk the same language a little faster, so hopefully get us back to you know, all working together as a unit, you know, things like that.
Thanks, Rob.